Hi, I'm here at Soul Farm. It's a gorgeous October evening. The sun is just hitting the horizon. I can't quite see it anymore behind the trees. So I thought I would try to film one more sequence. And I filmed one that I did this week in class. It's a warrior 1 to eagle sequence. I think it's fun, and we take a little bit of time to warm up the appropriate muscles, the muscles that need to be open and lengthened ahead of time before we go into it. It's always good if you're warmed up before doing these sequences, but we do touch on some of the important areas before moving into the sequence. All right, have fun. So come standing to the front of your mat and have a couple of blocks handy. That's Boogeyman in the background grazing. Inhale, lift your arms high to the sky, and as you exhale, soften your knees and bring your fingertips to the mat. Shift your hands to your shins. Inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, step your right leg back and lower your knee and the top of the foot to the mat. As you lift your torso, make sure your tailbone tucks down towards the mat to keep your low back long. Inhale, lift your arms high, and then exhale, lower your hands and step back to plank pose, the top of a push-up. From here, lower your knees. Lift your tailbone, let your belly drop into a back bend, and then exhale, round your spine and bring your hips to your heels. Inhale back forward to that tabletop with the back bend and curl your toes under, and then lift your hips up to downward facing dog and upside down V. Pedal your feet, working through your feet and your calves. Walk your feet forward to your hands, and then bring your hands to the shins. Inhale and lengthen your spine. Exhale, fold again. Inhale, sweep your arms high, join your palms at the top, and glide the thumbs to the heart. Again, arms reach, and then soften the knees and fold. Bring your hands to the shins, lengthen your spine, and exhale. Now step your left leg way back and lower your knee and the top of your foot. Again, as you lift your torso, draw your tailbone down towards the mat to open your low back. You'll feel a stretch in the front of your left hip. Lift your arms high and then lower your hands, and again step back to the top of the push-up, plank pose. Again, lower your knees, lift your tailbone, let your belly drop into a back bend. Exhale, round your spine, bring your hips to your heels for child's pose. Inhale, back to your tabletop with a back bend, curl the toes under, and then lift your hips up into downward facing dog. Now this time, we'll lower the knees back to the mat underneath our hips. Lift your right arm high to the sky, and then thread your right arm underneath your left, but hover above the mat. Inhale, lift your right arm high, and exhale, thread under the left and hover. Again, big inhale as you lift, and then as you exhale and hover, lower your shoulder and the side of your head all the way down to the mat. Now this is going to open up the upper back muscles that we need open for eagle pose when we get there. Breathe deeply into the upper back, feeling your shoulder blades separate. Then, press your left hand down and lift your upper body back to tabletop. Inhale and lift your left arm high. As you exhale, thread your left arm under your right. Let's repeat that a few times, warming up the left upper back around the shoulder blade area. And then the next time that you thread, pause, lower your shoulder all the way down to the mat and the side of your head, and just take some deep breaths there, opening up the upper back. Eagle is one of the few poses where we really separate and stretch the upper back and shoulder blades. Press your right hand down to lift your upper body back into tabletop. Move your hands forward a few inches, curl your toes under, and lift to downward facing dog. Pivot both of your heels to the right. Bend your right knee, keep your left knee straight, and press your left heel deep into the mat. Our focus here is to create a stretch in your left calf, so you might shift forward a little bit or back to find the best angle for a deep stretch in the calf. Then recenter your heels. Now, you can either step your right foot forward to your right thumb Or lower your knees, place your right foot by your thumb, and then re-lift your left knee. Move your left foot a little bit to the left and then plant it on an angle. Place your right hand into your right hip crease. Push your hip back, extend your left arm straight forward, and then slowly lift your heart as you lower your tailbone, coming all the way up into Warrior One, reaching both arms high. Take a few deep, slow breaths here. Then bring your palms together at the heart and with a firm belly, hinge forward, plant your hands, and then step back to plank pose again. Lower your knees, come into tabletop with a back bend. Exhale, round, hips to heels, child's pose. Inhale back forward to tabletop with the back bend, curl your toes under, and let's go back to downward facing dog. Now we'll pivot both of our heels to the left. Bend your left knee deep, press your right heel down into the mat. Our focus is to stretch the right calf now in preparation for Warrior One on this side. Recenter your heels, then either step your left foot forward to your left thumb or lower your knees to step the left foot forward. Relift your right knee, move your foot a little bit to the right and plant it. Now hook your left thumb into your left hip crease. Keep pushing your left hip back as you extend your right arm straight forward, and then lower your tailbone and lift your heart into Warrior One. Both arms reach high, and breathe here several breaths. Continue to draw your tailbone down and keep your left knee bent right over your heel. Bring your palms back to the heart. With a firm belly, hinge forward and lower both of your hands back down to the mat. Step back to plank. Lower your knees, tabletop with the back bend. Exhale, round your spine, hips to heels, child's pose. Inhale, tabletop with the back bend, curl your toes under, and lift to downward facing dog. Now remember, before we step our right foot to our right thumb, you can always lower your knees to modify. Otherwise, just step your right foot forward, move your left foot to the left and plant it. Bring your right hand to your hip to stabilize your hips. Extend your left arm forward and rise to Warrior One. Bring your palms to the heart with a firm belly, hinge forward and place your hands on your blocks. Shift your weight forward and bring your left leg around the front of the right. Move your blocks a couple of inches to the right and keep your left knee soft. Your right knee is very straight and your right leg will be slightly angled so that as you lift your tailbone and press your right heel down, you'll feel a more intense stretch on the outside of the right hamstring. Breathe here for a moment and then uncross your left leg. Shift your blocks a couple of inches to the left and reach the left leg way back into a lunge again. Plant your hands, step your right leg back to plank pose. Lower your knees to the mat, tabletop with a back bend. Exhale, round your spine, hips to heels, child's pose. Inhale back forward to tabletop with a back bend. Curl your toes under, and here we are, downward facing dog. You can lower your knees to step your left foot forward, or just take a step, left foot by the left thumb. Move your right foot a little to the right and plant it. Stabilize your hips with your left hand in the hip crease and rise. Reach both arms high, Warrior One. Draw your palms together at the heart and hinge forward. Bring your hands to your blocks. Shift your right foot forward and cross your leg all the way in front of the left. Everything shifts a little bit to the left now. Keep your right knee soft. Your left leg is straight. And because it's on that slight angle inward, you'll feel a more intense stretch in your outer hamstring of your left leg. This is a less comfortable area of the hamstring to stretch. So make certain you're lifting your tailbone high, pressing your heel down so you don't back off this stretch. Now uncross your right leg, move your blocks to the right and take a step back with your right leg back to your long lunge. Plant your hands to the mat, step your left leg back to plank pose. Lower your knees. Here we go. Tabletop with a back bend. Exhale, round, hips to heels, child's pose. Inhale back to tabletop with a back bend and curl your toes under to downward facing dog. Now, things start to get fun. Soften your knees and step your right foot by your right thumb. Move your left foot a little to the left and plant it. Stabilize your right hip with your hand. Reach your left arm forward and rise. Both arms reach high. Interlace your hands behind your hips. Roll your shoulder blades together and down. Hinge forward and bring your right shoulder to your right inner knee. Let your head drop as your knuckles rise. This is a good stretch for the fronts of your shoulders. Bring your thumbs back to your hips, lengthen your spine, and take your hands to your blocks. Now, begin to shift your weight forward again, bringing your left leg forward and cross it around your right. This time thigh over thigh, like you're sitting back cross-legged into a chair. Bend your right knee deeply and bring your palms together at the heart. Open your arms straight out to the side and then cross your right arm above your left. Give yourself a big hug. Point your fingertips up towards the sky and perhaps you can bring your palms together and lift your elbows up and away from your chest. So you're strengthening your right leg right now and you're stretching your upper back. All right, uncross your arms, bring the palms back together at the heart. Bring your hands to the blocks and step your left leg way back into a lunge. Let's give the right hip a stretch. Lower your left knee and bring both of your blocks to the inside of the right foot. Lower your forearms down. Now maybe you can get your forearms all the way to the mat. That's okay. Allow your right knee to open to the right as you let your hips lower and breathe. Let's lift the upper body. Take the blocks to either side of your right foot. Curl your left toe under and lift your knee. All right, with your hands on your mat, step back to plank. Lower your knees. Tabletop with a back bend. Round your spine, hips to heels, child's pose. Come back to tabletop with a back bend. Curl your toes under and exhale back to downward facing dog. Then soften your knees and step your left foot forward to your left thumb. Move your right foot a little bit to the right and plant it. Stabilize your hip with your left thumb. Lift your upper body. Both arms reach high into warrior one. Interlace your hands behind you. Try your less preferred interlace. Hinge forward, bringing your left shoulder to your left inner knee. Your knuckles rise, your head drops. Bring your knuckles back to your hips and lengthen your spine. Now, both of your hands come to your blocks again. Shift your weight forward. Bring your right leg forward and cross your right thigh over your left. Sink your hips. Bring your palms together at the heart. Now you can always stay right here in this one leg balance. The deeper you bend your knee, the easier the balance is. Open your arms to the side, and this time it's going to be left elbow crosses above right. Join your palms if you can. Sink deeper if you can. Lift your elbows up and away. If joining your palms is difficult, you can just bring your hands to your shoulders. Then bring the palms together at the heart. Hinge forward and bring your hands to your blocks. Step your right leg way back again and lower your knee in the top of the foot. With both of your blocks on the inside of the left foot, you can bring your forearms down, let your left knee open to the side a little, and give your left hip now a well-deserved stretch. The left leg was doing a lot of work there, holding you up. Breathe here. And then bring your palms back to the mat. Move those blocks out of the way. Step back to the top of a push-up. Last time, lower your knees. Inhale, tabletop with a back bend. Exhale, round, hips to heels, child's pose. Inhale to tabletop with a back bend. Curl your toes under and downward facing dog. We did it. Good work. lower your knees, bring your palms together at the heart. Give yourself a deep inner bow for that hard work, and namaste.